Well, hello and welcome to the very first Menopause Mentor Monthly Meetup that is being recorded. And I'm Lisa, I'm your menopause mentor and really your person, your go-to person for all things holistic and menopause related. I'm so excited today to have Laura Jones with us to talk. She's an advocate with Green Compass. And the company that she works with sells organic hemp and functional mushroom products. So, we're going to talk about how those things can support you on your menopause journey today. So, thanks so much for being here with us today, Laura. We are so excited to hear what you've got to say. So, ladies, if you haven't discovered this already, menopause, perimenopause through postmenopause. I mean, it brings some challenges. Let's just be honest. That decline in estrogen and progesterone just brings some things that are sometimes really unexpected. A lot of times we talk about the hot flashes. And yes, that is a symptom of menopause. It's probably the most, quote, popular symptom of menopause. But I think that's just because it is the only symptom that can solely be related to fluctuating hormones. So let's talk about the other things that you might be experiencing that you didn't even know were perimenopause or menopause related. So about 80% of us will experience menopause symptoms. Hot flashes, night sweats, really noticing an increased anxiety, mood swings, and depression. One that hit me really hard was joint and muscle pain. So, those of us who do experience some symptoms, about 60% of us are going to notice some changes in mobility, some changes in just the pain that we are experiencing. So much so that just recently it has been labeled as musculoskeletal syndrome that women are experiencing. But other things too, like increased blood pressure, heart palpitations, which was another big one for me. And I had no idea at first that that was a symptom to go along with perimenopause. I thought I was having some major heart issues. Now, I do want to say that all these things I just mentioned could be related to another health issue. And it's so important to visit your doctor, your healthcare provider, and have a conversation about what you're experiencing and to rule out anything that might be more serious. But here's another thing that really has struck me the more I've done this work, Laura, is that 70% of women who experience symptoms say that they miss work, that they miss family engagements, and they really miss out on doing things that are really important to them because of symptoms. So, ladies, it does not have to be that way. It really doesn't. Laura, I'm curious where you are on your journey and if you've noticed or experienced any of these symptoms that I've mentioned or other symptoms.
I have. And I'm in the age group of people. A lot of us in my age group are going through the perimenopausal phase. And so, yes, I definitely have felt these, some of them, and definitely am in that friend group where everyone's talking about it. And so, it's nice to be able to offer people some possible solutions to some of the things that are starting to happen that weren't happening before.
Right. And I love that you said your friend group is talking about it.
Mhm.
That is so important, is that we're starting to bring this conversation around hormonal changes as we
Mhm.
get older. I can't talk today. It's probably brain fog, which is another one. Uh, we bring this conversation into the mainstream. And I know for me, it was important that I looked at the whole the whole experience, my whole body, all the things that were going on. I didn't want to just treat a symptom. I wanted to get clarity around a much more holistic approach and looking at things like, what I'm putting in my body, how I'm moving my body, my sleep, just all those things that are a little more of a holistic approach was super important to me, and it is for the clients that I work with. So I've been reading a lot, Laura, since I've just gone through this myself and I've gotten to know what you're doing. I've been reading a lot about CBD, hemp products, and functional mushrooms. And the research that's out there right now is pretty astounding as far as how they can help combat or alleviate or lessen some of the symptoms that we're experiencing. So I'd love, because I'm a research nerd, you know that about me. I would love for you to share a little bit about the research behind the products that you sell and how what that shows about menopausal women.
Sure. Well, so one thing I would say is you can go to PubMed. I don't know if that's a spot that you go to sometimes, Lisa,
Yeah.
for scientific research. But that's a very good broad. You could type in CBD in. You could even type in like CBD and Alzheimer's, CBD and Parkinson's, CBD and perimenopause. It's a great place where you can kind of find a repository of scientific information. One thing I will say is that Green Compass is technically a supplement company. So, as with any supplement company, we cannot claim to like treat or cure or anything like that, any sort of ailment. But the anecdotal evidence, especially, is hard to ignore. When you talk to people who have had an alleviation of symptoms and it comes on the heels of starting to take daily CBD or daily collagen, these things that we have to offer, that anecdotal evidence, honestly, is what's most precious to me working one-on-one with people, even though the science is definitely, it's out there too. So I would say if you have an interest in the science piece, going to PubMed and just typing in CBD and whatever interests you, sleep, pain, perimenopause, whatever, and see what comes up, and do your research, do your reading. And those are they're definitely very science, heavy, obviously, research articles. But if you really want to get into the nitty gritty, that's a good way to do it.
Sounds great. Thanks for mentioning that. And as always, anytime you're thinking about a change in your lifestyle, a change in your diet, a change in supplements, it's so critical for you to talk to your healthcare professional. So, everything Laura and I are offering today is just our personal experiences and things that we have seen. But it's so crucial that before you make any change at all, that you're talking to your healthcare provider.
Yes. And I was thinking about well, shoot, sorry, Lisa.
It's
There you go. It's probably the brain fog, as you were saying earlier. But did you have something to say? Because I totally forgot what I was going
okay.
to say.
We'll pause, we'll take a breath, we'll practice all the things that we preach about, stressing out when one of those symptoms occurs because you're like, oh my gosh, I'm having a hot flash, or oh my gosh, I'm having brain fog right now. And that's the worst thing really we can do is like freak out about it. But that's counterintuitive too. It's like to be, I remember when I was, in my former job and I trained people on the regular and it was in the throes of perimenopause and my brain fog was so bad that I could be training something I had trained for 10 years and I couldn't think of a word that I had used thousands of times. It would totally escape me. And so I can totally relate to the feeling of almost a panic that here I am, I'm in front of people or I'm having a conversation, but what I tried to do was just normalize that and be like, you know what? I'm having a moment of brain fog. I just need to take a breath here and maybe it'll come to me, maybe it won't, and we'll just go on. So Laura, I'm curious thinking about those symptoms like brain fog. You and I have talked about brain fog just in the last couple of days. Um, so I'm curious about things that you offer that could support the menopause journey and help with some of those things.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, pulled out some of my goodies just to have something to show you. This this is the best thing I think that we have to offer for brain fog specifically. And this just happens to be a functional mushroom product. We have a couple functional mushroom products, and then the rest are hemp-derived products. And a question people sometimes have about both hemp so hemp is not marijuana. I just want to put that out there. And then functional mushrooms are not psychedelics because those
Well,
are,
that's where I was going to. That
yeah.
was a question. I was like, okay, let's clarify functional mushrooms here.
Yeah. I'm so glad you asked because those are two big questions and I welcome
Right.
them because I want people to know. Basically, the things that we have to offer are made of superfoods. That's how I like to think of it. So this is called Mind Bloom. And it's just a cognitive support. It's a little capsule and it has organic lion's mane mushroom, organic cordyceps, and sage in it. So if you think about all three of those are things you could just walk into your grocery store and buy, but it's in a capsule format and you can take two at a time. You can take them daily because this product actually is great for long-term cognitive function, but it also helps in the short term to lift brain fog, to help with short-term focus and concentration. So it's a really incredible product that, some people like to use occasionally for that short-term focus and concentration. Some people like to take it daily because they're like, "Ooh, I want those long-term cognitive neuroprotective benefits." So that's a great product. If somebody is talking about brain fog, that would be my number one thing to offer to them.
And that's interesting that you said focus and concentration because I'm hearing more women in midlife being diagnosed with ADHD.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, is it ADHD
Mhm.
or is it this changing? Is it a result of the changing hormone levels that they're going through that's causing this, memory loss, brain fog, lack of focus? So yeah, I love that idea of a product that could help not only in the short term, but then thinking long term and aging well as well.
Yeah. I love that too. And I've had some clients to think about sending students of theirs, their children who are going off to college with like little care packages with something like this in it, Mind Bloom. Because as we know, college students, maybe even high school students, can sometimes turn to, um, other less healthy means of like staying awake and trying to focus
Right.
and all of that sort of thing, energy drinks and other things as well. So this could be a great option to
Cool.
like give to kids. I feel like the perimenopausal to menopausal women, that's another age group where you probably have a lot of kids who are heading off to college or
Yeah, that's so true. That's right. So another big one I hear all the time is sleep disruption, either
mhm.
due to hot flashes, night sweats, things like heartburn and like gut disruptions. So, what about those kinds of things? How could a hemp-based product or a functional mushroom product help with that?
Yeah. Well, with gut imbalances, I have a couple of ideas. We do have a collagen, Green Compass does. I believe it's the only collagen on the market that it's infused with CBG, which is just another cannabinoid from the hemp plant. Um, and so it's a really nice collagen. We have several flavors. This is the chocolate one, which can be really good in like a peppermint hot tea or
Mm,
make it some other different ways. But that would be something I would recommend both for joint pain, which I know we've talked a bit about, but also if you're having gut imbalances, collagen can be so great for helping to repair that as well as.
yes, collagen is something that is so important for your joint and your fascial health. I have been struggling with really bad joint pain for the last couple of months, and I just had not thought that I had stopped my collagen. And I ran out of it back in the snowstorm, like one of the early snowstorms, and I wanted to try another different collagen. And I just had And so somebody said to me, well, do you take collagen? And I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't had any in a long time. So that is so, collagen is just, it does so many things. It also keeps your skin looking great, like your fine lines and wrinkles. So, those things are more prominent as we get a little older. So yeah, collagen in a product is awesome as we move through menopause and into later life.
Yeah. And I'm so glad you mentioned that, Lisa, because I also have clients who've had the exact same experience where they're rolling along and using their collagen daily. And then all of a sudden they go on a vacation and forget to take it with them or run out like you did. And then they're starting to experience joint pain. And I think that's so cool just to have that little period where you're like, oh, that
Yeah.
really was working. So
It is. It kind of just it's very confirming for what you've been doing when you stop doing something and then you come back to it because you notice the changes mentally, physically, physiologically, psychologically, and all those things. So yeah, the collagen sounds like a great option too for women for several reasons. So back to sleep because we got a little sidetracked. I'm sorry about that. I just got collagen excited.
I have the good news is Green Compass actually has several products that can help with sleep.
Hmm.
And so I love that we have several things because it's like we can start kind of low and slow, if you will. And then I always try to start people with the bare minimum and then add to. If it's like you're trying this and still just not there,
Right.
some things we can add in. So first and foremost, I would say this is just a daily CBD jelly. I take it between 1 and 3 times per day. I always take it in the morning. I sometimes take it at night, and then sometimes I'll throw a third in the middle of the day. And it's totally fine because, again, it's just a superfood. It's USDA organic. I could go on and on and on about
Yeah.
the quality, but I won't. But just this alone helps a lot of people sleep better because daily CBD just brings your whole body back into homeostasis and balance. And that's kind of a goal with taking a daily CBD product. So these jellies could definitely assist. I'm a jellies person. My husband is a tincture person. So basically, these are the same. It's just a different delivery method. Actually, I have a lot of middle-aged male clients as well because this tincture was so helpful to my husband. And I don't think you would mind me saying this, but men of his age are starting to get up like 2 and 3 times a night to go to the restroom. And he's like, this helped him sleep through the night. And now he tells all the men in his age group,
Yeah.
this is what you need. So I have a
Yeah.
lot of guys in that age
Yeah.
group. So they're going through their own stuff.
Well, that's interesting because one of the things that we know about cannabinoids is those are naturally produced in our body. But because of outside stressors that we experience that people didn't experience 100 years ago, right? So those naturally occurring cannabinoids were much more present and efficient back in the day. But now we live this fast-paced, very stressed, life. And so, just what has happened as we've evolved is the cannabinoid level that we have in our bodies is much lower than what it should be. So, therefore, the increased stress response, higher cortisol, all those things that the increased stress response brings with it. So, when you think about a product like you're talking about with the jellies, that's loading us back up with those natural things that we already have in our body. We're just not producing them like we did before.
Exactly. I'm so glad you mentioned that, Lisa, because I love to educate people about the endocannabinoid system because many people aren't aware that we have this bodily system and the receptors for that endocannabinoid system, they are literally all over your body, every organ, your brain, they're everywhere. And so CBD just goes right into those receptors. And I've actually heard it explained the endocannabinoid system as if you think of your body as a Christmas tree and your endocannabinoid system, the receptors on it are like Christmas lights. And you know how sometimes you've got like really really brightly burning Christmas tree lights. Sometimes you might have one that's like dim. Sometimes they're completely burned out. And if you think of your endocannabinoid system in your body like that, the really brightly burning ones, the CBD is not going to go there. You're good. The ones that are dim, it's going to go there and brighten that. The ones that are out, it's going to go there and brighten that. Turn those all back on, and everything's like working more smoothly. So it's cool.
That is such a great analogy. And as you're saying that, of course, my menopause brain is thinking we have estrogen receptors as well in every part of our body. And so I'm thinking, oh, wow, the estrogen starts to go low. So it impacts all systems of our body. The endocannabinoid system is off. So that's messing with us. And so getting those two, just thinking about how that impacts the whole body um, in a negative or a positive way once you start adding things back in to support both of those systems is really exciting.
It's really exciting. I think it's exciting too because it's like it's so nice to have that knowledge when perhaps you didn't have it at all before, and like now you can address that. But back to sleep, if you're okay with it for just a
Yeah,
second.
yeah.
Once I know I said I start usually people with either the daily jelly or the daily tincture. And if that's not enough to help with their sleep, we also have a little sleep, it's called a boost, which has terpenes and essential oils. So there's that. It's a tincture as well. So you just put it under the tongue. And then there's also, I don't have them here with me, but we have a little jar of sleep jellies that have CBN in them. So again, just another cannabinoid. The CBN and the sleep jellies works with the CBD that you're taking in your daily jellies. So you would take them ideally together so they can work synergistically. But you can take the sleep jellies just on their own if you want, but it's just a better thing for them to work together, the CBD and the CBN.
Cool. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
So, what about anxiety, mood swings, and depression? So, um, anything specifically for that, or more just broadly in the products that you use with your clients?
Yeah, I would say definitely daily CBD use, I think could be really great. Just that again, that daily jelly, that daily tincture, um, could help alleviate those things. I'm thinking specifically about me. For most of my life, I wouldn't wake up in the middle of the night and just be laying there and having, you know, anxious thoughts, things that would never bother me during the daytime. And I'm laying there at 3 a.m. like,
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
no,
With the laundry list of all the things, just like perseverating on every single thing that could ever stress you out. Yeah.
for sure. From 5 years ago or like that morning or whatever. And so what I personally noticed when I started taking daily CBD, along with some other things, that was one thing I noticed is that do I wake up sometimes in the middle of the night still, need to go to the bathroom or something? Yes. But I have not had that like doom and gloom feeling where I'm laying there and it's just like an awful feeling. I don't, that's the only thing I know to attribute it to is that I haven't had that since I've started taking daily CBD. So that's a nice thing
Yeah.
to be rid of.
That is totally. I mean, that's another thing that a lot of my clients will say is, "Oh, I go to sleep fine, but about 3 in the morning, I'm just awake and the brain is on and I can feel the stress in my body and I can't, have these looping thoughts and I'm just done. I might as well just go ahead and get up. And that just leads to so many other things when you're not getting the sleep that you need. It's going to lead to mood swings, fatigue, brain fog. You're not going to want to move your body as much because you're tired. So, sleep is just so critical to reset you for the next day. Yeah. So, Laura, is there any other thing that maybe you're thinking of that we haven't mentioned yet that you'd like to mention?
Yeah, I would love to tell you too a little bit about the CBD creams that we have, which I think
Sure.
are really nice pairing with the collagen if you are having joint or muscle pain. One of them has menthol in it, so you're going to get that like menthol smell, that tingle. I always like to mention that because my son actually is not a fan of menthol, so he stays very clear of this one. The good news is we have another one that doesn't have that in it. So that's a couple different options. And those just, they feel great.
So
There's,
they're like a topical that you would just use like on your knee, on your hip, on your shoulder, whatever's giving you grief.
yeah, exactly. These are pumps. So you just pump out a little bit. There's a roll-on version too, if you don't want that on your hands. But yeah, you just pump it out or roll it on, and you're getting almost immediate relief if you've got some kind of ache or pain or whatever. Those are really nice and so great to have if you have kids in sports or whatever too. I also wanted to offer, so the daily jelly that I have has just a little bit of THC in it. It's of course under the legal amount, or yeah, you know what I'm saying. The legal, there's a, yes, the legal amount. That's what I wanted to say. And then broad spectrum, that's called full spectrum. Broad spectrum doesn't have THC. So I would recommend for everybody full spectrum unless they have a reason, like maybe they get drug tested and they don't want that
Sure.
to show up. Even though that teeny tiny amount of THC is not going to get you high or anything, it could show up on a drug test.
Right.
So broad spectrum is another option for just those daily jellies, and in the tincture as well. And then finally, I have just two additional products. This is maybe not in the perimenopausal realm, but I don't know. You tell me. These are
Okay.
a functional mushroom product. They're called Immune Bloom. It has elderberry, organic elderberry, organic chaga mushrooms, organic reishi mushrooms, organic turkey tail mushrooms. And I used to take these when I was going to travel or like while I was traveling.
Mm-hmm.
Knew I was going to be in a big crowd. And lately I just take them every day because I'm like, why not? You know, and I've stayed
Right.
really well this fall and winter. Could be a fluke, could be these, I don't know. But that's just a nice product. I don't know
Well,
if
I think that's an important thing to mention because especially as you get older, coming back from an illness takes a whole lot longer. I mean, I'm finding I'm down, a cold or, you know, something that would have taken me down a sinus infection for just a few days is, it takes a week, 7 days or 10 days, even sometimes to really come back from that. And so I think that's important is to have just a healthy immune system.
Mhm. Yep, and those are just meant to um, help you have like a proper immune response.
Mhm.
So those are great. Those can be great for kids too. Like, here, take one of these before you go into that big building of like hundreds of
Yeah,
people who are like
right.
sneezing and coughing everywhere. And then the final thing, and this does have to do with perimenopause for sure, this is a brand new product that we have, and it has just a little bit more THC than like our daily jellies. So this is not something that, I mean, you could take it daily if you want. It's more of like a relaxation. Like I think of it as an alcohol alternative. It's called Unwind. The reason I like it for women in our age group is one, you can relax, unwind, and not have like any dehydration, hangover, any of those unpleasant things that you sometimes get with alcohol. I know a lot of people are working hard to be fit and everything. And weight gain can also be, an issue at this time in our lives, even if it hasn't been
Yeah.
before. And while I don't, I'm not a big diet culture kind of person or anything like that, obviously these do have fewer calories than, say, like a beer or a glass of wine
Right.
or something like
Right.
that. So that's kind of an alcohol alternative for people
Well,
to give that a
that's important because one of the things that really exacerbates menopause symptoms is alcohol.
Mhm.
And so a lot of times that's the one thing when I tell my clients, okay, you've got to give up your nightly glass of wine. Well, you don't have to give it up, but if you want to relieve those night sweats or that brain fog or that bloated feeling, then that's going to help. And so, having an alternative, because that's often the thing that they say is, well, I like, it helps me relax in the evening. So that could be a nice alternative for, giving up your nightly glass of wine or your nightly cocktail.
Yeah, for sure. It's really cool. It's brand new, actually, just came out a few weeks ago. So I'm
Well, thanks for
enjoying.
sharing that with us. That's exciting.
Thank you.
So Laura, tell everybody where they can find you, and I will also put this in the show notes on in the recording. But if they're interested in exploring Green Compass products a little bit more, where could they find you?
Yes. So I'm okay. This is long here. So we'll put it in the show notes, like you said, but it's actually L Roberts, KY greencompassglobal.com. That is my Green Compass website. And I'm not on Instagram. So my social media presence, public facing, is basically non-existent. I keep it all private and on Facebook. So that's probably the best place
Okay.
to check out the products and everything. And then, of course, anybody's welcome to get in touch, and I'll give you that information as well.
That's wonderful. Well, Laura, thank you so much, like I said, for joining me today and just giving us some options. To me, it just feels like options, which
Mhm.
is what we like to have. We like to have this variety of things that we can go to, that we can have in our toolkit. And I just see this as another tool in our menopause journey toolkit, if that's something that you're interested in exploring. So exciting. Well, thank you again so much, Laura. Um, I look
Absolutely.
forward to chatting with you again in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you, Lisa.
Yeah. See you soon.
All right. See you soon.
All right. Bye.